But first day of school, you got all the new stuff, you're on your best behavior. And whatever reputation you had from your previous school year, you could make it up and just say, I matured in the summer. Changed. When you go to a new place of business, you do have to make the cognitive choice. Am I going to lay down the laws that this is who I am? I'm going to try and evolve and understand there is some negativity to who I was and grow into who I want to be. People are judged by their actions, not their words. Right? I mean, look no further than the National Football League. Dave Gettleman can tell us all he wants about Eli Manning is their guy, but they just drafted a guy number 6 in the NFL draft. He's going to play sooner rather than later. That's the nature of the business. Right? The same is true for players. Odell Beckham Jr. can tell us he's all about winning. But what gives you a better likelihood of winning? When you're on the same wavelength as your quarterback and you're constantly together, constantly running routes, where you can finish each other's sentences, or when you just show up when it's time to show up and then you go play. What's even worse is he knows what his reputation is, and he's living down to, not up to it. Even worse is Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell hasn't played football in more than a year. And while I won't hold the drug tests against him, it was weed. It's more stupidity and arrogance than it is any sort of severe drug problem. Here's a guy who's missed time because of suspensions, missed time because of injuries, taken a year off, seemed to be overweight, didn't get the money he wanted, but one team decided, hey, we're going to give you a huge contract. It may not be the contract that he wanted, but let it be known, that's a lot of money that he's set to make from the New York Jets. And how does he reward them? Doesn't show up for OTAs. Doesn't show up for OTAs. Here's two guys that are stars in the NFL that need an absolute reality check. There's a book. It's called The First 90 Days. A friend of mine gave it to me 5 years ago, excuse me. I was 2 years into my deal at CBS, and I thought to myself, boy, this would have been good before I took this job. You know? And I'm not going to give you the Cliff Notes version, but I will tell you generally, some of the ideas are, you show up, you're everybody's friend, and you figure out the place's culture. And before you try to change and evolve their culture to fit some of your own beliefs, maybe some of those cultural beliefs that you were brought in to help instill, you got to understand how everybody works and why everybody is how they are. You know where you can't do that? Can't do that in Los Angeles when your team is training in Cleveland. Can't do that in Miami when your team is training in Floral Park. If you want to be a star, you have to do the little things. You have to do the extra workouts. You don't just have to be there. You got to be first in, last out. Take Josh Rosen, for example. Rosen knew he was going to be traded. He knew that Cliff Kingsbury didn't want him, that this is not a surprise. What did he do during OTAs? First one in, last one out. What's he going to do in Miami? It's going to be first one in, last one out. He's going to likely learn from some of his past mistakes. He's not going to be able to reshape himself because he's just not some dynamic leader that guys are going to get behind. He's not a rah-rah guy. That's not who he is. On the other hand, he is going to be there as often as possible because the more you're around somebody, the more you like their qualities and you accept their flaws. But instead, Odell Beckham Jr. has decided, hey man, I'm a superstar. I don't need any of that stuff. But you've been in the NFL for 4 years. When you're on the field, you're really good. But you haven't been on the field consistently, missing at least half of one season and chunks of 2 of the other 3. In addition to the fact that you're playing with a new quarterback and a new system with an unproven head coach with a bunch of new players, and you're going to just show up and wing it? It's not the way it works. For a guy who liked to spend time with his teammates on a boat the week before the playoffs, it seems odd that you've probably made your teammates feel like we're not fun to hang around. Cleveland's not a cool city to be around right now. Your time And your guys and your workouts are more valuable than us. These are actions, not words. This is no different than little kids. Kids say they want to be the best. Are you willing to put down the video game and go outside and shoot hoops for an hour? The lack of discipline in Odell Beckham Jr.'s life and understanding that he is judged from the moment he got to Cleveland, he's going to be judged. I want a clean slate. You got one. Your first opportunity to make a good impression, you chose to bail. Your time's more valuable than time with us. And if there's 86,400 seconds in a day and you spend 0 of those seconds on your teammates in Cleveland while they're out getting to know each other and working towards a common goal, how do you think they're going to view you? The Giants saw through his words and saw his actions. He had 3 months of good behavior, and then he reverted to being all about Odell Beckham Jr. It doesn't mean that he's a bad guy. Doesn't mean that he's out doing bad things. It just means the best way to be effective is to be around guys more often. And while you could sit there and say, hey, Tom Brady missed OTAs last year, he did. First time he's ever done it. Tom Brady also has spent 18 previous years at OTAs. System's not new to him. Other guys have to learn the system. And when you're at his age, you don't want him throwing that much because you don't want him to get rubber armed late in the season, which he got anyway. Right? That's actually the opposite is the problem with the Saints and the Chargers and with the Steelers and with the Patriots, where they have older quarterbacks. They actually don't want those guys to throw as much. But this idea that OTAs aren't useful, you have to practice less now in the regular season and in the preseason than you ever have previously. And so you got to soak up every single amount of time. And it's not like you're at the facility for 15 hours a day. And oh yeah, by the way, the training you're doing in Los Angeles is the same training you'd be doing in Cleveland. The only difference is the proximity to your teammates and your coaches and your fans. So I just think, the Le'Veon thing is completely inexcusable. Dude, you ain't played football in a year and a half and you're going to miss any workout when they gave you a deal and nobody else was going to? In the these guys don't get it category, I give you Le'Veon Bell and Odell Beckham Jr. No one has ever said neither have talent. They have prolific talent. They have Hall of Fame caliber talent between the two of them. Le'Veon Bell is that dynamic, and Odell Beckham Jr., I don't have to tell you how good he is. But there's a reason that both of their previous employers allowed them to walk out the door. And this is the reason.